Welcome back. You are listening to the Mari Mukwanda Show on Salam Media, and it is Tuesday, the 30th of June, 2020. Joining me on the line right now is author and relationship coach Margaret Hungu, and today we're talking about balancing work, life, and marriage. Good morning once again, Margaret. Thank you for joining me.
Good morning, Mariam. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. So when it comes to marriage and your business, your career, your life. It's not something that is easy to juggle. It's either if we focus on one, then the other lacks, and then if we focus on the other, then the other one will lack. So it's about striking a balance between the two. So can we have a successful life, a successful business, and a marriage? Is that possible?
Yes, it is very possible. I like what you have just said now. It is the balance. But how do one get to the balance? And also the way you introduced even this topic to talk about career, because when you look at career, it's in so many ways. I might say that I'm a
Mhm.
career woman, I stay home. I'm looking after the family while it's at home. It's a career on its own. I might say I'm in the marketplace. I'm a businesswoman. I am there. I am rubbing shoulders with who is to who in the marketplace. Then I might say I'm also a woman who is holding a portfolio in in the workplace. I'm a manager. Whatever position that you might be, you might have, you are also having a career. So it is to know firstly what kind of career are you into, because at the end of the day it is how you describe it as an individual where you realize that this is a career that I'm into. Then secondly, you also look at marriage itself. What is marriage to you? Because to so many people, marriage is in different, also different description as well. I might look at marriage and say I was just looking for someone to give me kids. I might say I was looking for companionship. So it's in many ways. But how do you define marriage? How do you define career as an individual for you to get to that balance?
Mm. So, in other words, you're saying that it all starts with the individual person. Like me as a person, I need to identify how I view marriage and how I view my career and where I want the two to fit in.
Yes, true. So from my own perspective, I would come to you and say, for me, marriage is important for our well-being. If I make a decision today that I want to be married, it means I've considered so many things. I could have stayed by myself and I'll be fine, chasing every other goal out there. But I decided to be married. So when I decided to be married, it means that I'm getting into this partnership of loyalty between my husband and myself. So in this partnership, we have to find something that is common, something that brings us together in this partnership. And the partnership of marriage is not 50-50, like what we would see in the corporate. It is 100%
Mm.
in it. I bring my 100%, my husband brings the 100%. Then from there, I also established that marriage is the firmest foundation of building a family. So when I am coming into this family, it's not only me and my husband as well, it's also the extended family. If we decide to have children, it is also with the children. Not only that, also even the community itself, because I operate in a community, I am in a setup whereby whatever that I do influences the other person. Then, not only that, I would say to myself as well, it is about sexual expression to help couples to build intimacy. Because, I mean, you can't be married and then you are sleeping from another room in the other one in the other room. Why didn't you stay by yourself? It is that sexual expression that helps to build that intimacy in a marriage setup. That one is a big topic on its own. And then also, it is when partners' roles mark out the place in which each spouse finds their fulfillment. So when I get married, it doesn't mean that everything that I had in my mind, the aspirations, the vision I had, has just suddenly disappeared because I'm now married. Not at all. But we are there to fulfill this blessing that we should never forget ourselves. I often see sometimes, especially sometimes to women, when we get married, we say to ourselves, we've arrived. I needed a husband. So what else? So in that arrival, it means that you have stopped to have anything else. Everything is now centered on the husband, or it's now centered on the marriage. Hence, now you see people that end up becoming bitter in marriage because there is no more fulfillment anymore. They feel like they are now being stuck. Why? Because they did not define exactly what they wanted out of this marriage.
And I know that many times people like to say that marriage is 50-50, but you mentioned that it is 100-100, and we need to give 100% of ourselves, and our partners too need to give 100%. Now, where are we going wrong? What should we be doing?
So after you have decided, because it's a decision, remember when you get married, of course, we know out there are some arranged marriages and everything else. But when you make a decision of getting married, it means that you're going to forsake everything else, right? And when I'm coming into this partnership, into this relationship, I'm bringing my all. And now I have defined who I am in this marriage and where I want to go and where I want to be. Right. So sometimes where people end up getting it wrong is that there is no boundaries made. You are just living in this marriage. There is no boundaries. When I talk of boundaries in marriages, I'm talking about me, a career woman who is doing all that in the marketplace. What are my boundaries? When I am at work or when I come home, what do I do as a married person? So it is when you realize that when I am home or when I've put up boundaries, from such a time, I receive no calls from work unless if the building of that company is on fire, of which you can still call the fire brigade. You don't even need to call me, right? You set up boundaries. Work ends here. This is now my family time. And when it's family time, don't have 3 years of listening to that, doing that. Be attentive, be present, be in that mode of saying, I am here, I have set boundaries, and this is where I am right now. And also, in there, you also realize that in the marketplace, many times when we get into there, I want to go up the corporate ladder. I want to be recognized. Yes, some people they do not want to be a manager, to be a CEO, whatever it could be. Myself, I want to be recognized, and I want my efforts also to be what to be paid exactly for what I'm doing. That fulfillment that comes when I'm saying I'm actually doing something and I'm getting something out of it, not only financially but with everything else. Because you realize that money is not everything. After you have acquired all the money, then what? When your family is breaking, right? So money will not answer everything to you, and money can never be the source of what you want to do when it comes to career. So many people end up going for money and losing the marriage. Imagine a man who is all there doing so much business, such that when they realize that they are lacking at home, some of them end up just taking their families for holiday or sending them to everywhere. Go to France, Paris, whatever, Mauritius, go to holiday. But while they are not there, they can go to the beach. We can see all those photos on social media. But are they fulfilled? Are they happy? No. Right. Then the other thing is also sacrifices of having a family. Because when you sacrifice into marriage, it means you have realized that there are some things that you are going to sacrifice. It is time with friends. Yes, we are not saying don't cut away your friends, but sacrificing is when I'm coming in and saying, my friends, when it's marriage time, it's my time with my husband, it's my time with kids, it's my time with my wife. So friends, you come at the later. When you look at marriage, there is order in the marriage. So for me, it will be me, right? And it's my husband. Then it's my kids. Then becomes the career. So if you don't have that order, you abuse it. Because you have no order, you can just pick as. That's why you saw now under these lockdown conditions, we are in lockdown. Many people are still working from home. What happens is that there is also no order in the sense of, do you have boundaries? That yes, I'm working from home, but I'm not available 24 hours. I still have a family here. I have kids that I still need to tutor. Kids are doing Google Classroom. All those things are happening. So if you don't set up boundaries, people will call you at 8 o'clock, at 7 o'clock for a meeting. Why? Because they want the company things to go on. But what about your family? Are you going to lose your family here just because there is lockdown? People do not realize they have no boundaries. And another thing as well is that when we are here, right, when you are being present, if you also find things that are common that you can do as a family, being deliberate. Yes, don't forget your career. You still want to be there. You want even to further your studies. But when you are being present, when you are here, are we spending time together as a family? Are we not taking each other for granted as well to say, it's under lockdown. We are having COVID issues, COVID-19 right now. So, I'm still here. You give a reason to say, I'm here still working on my computer, but you are here, but you are not here. It's two things there. Are you taking this thing for granted? And also, are we able to grow in this? So remember, this balancing also, it's not only career. So as you balance your career and your marriage, if there are children in the picture, you might also focus on them so much that you neglect your spouse, to the point whereby if these kids grow up and they grow so fast, I'm always amazed when I look at my son, who is a teenager, who is 16 now. Sometimes I look at him, I go like, wow, that's my son, because he's still grown and I'm still thinking that I'm still 20. I never want to tell people my age because I really look 20. So what am I saying here? I'm saying when the kids grow up and they leave the home, is there still going to be a marriage here? Because maybe you neglected it with career, with everything else. Now the kids have gone. And maybe even the career is gone. I'm reminded of Steve Jobs. I just wanted to read this. On his dying days. I mean, we all know Steve Jobs. We know about Apple and all those things. So he realized some things when he was diagnosed with cancer. I just want to read this. So he says at his deathbed, at this moment, lying on a sick bed and recalling my whole life, I realized that all the recognition and the wealth that I took so much pride in have paled and become meaningless in the face of impending death. So imagine when you take that context into the marriage, where at the end of the day, you wake up, you have lost it. And you are now regretting that I wish I was not chasing only money. I wasn't chasing positions. I wasn't chasing all the cars. And you realize what you really missed and you are now lonely. What becomes of you?
And we realize things when it's too late, when it's all done, when your partner is there crying to you, begging to you, needing the attention, the affection, the love, and just putting it off, brushing it under the carpet, tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes too late, and your partner has decided to leave you, sometimes even take the kids, and you're now literally left with nothing because you chose your career over your family, over your partner. Okay, Margaret, we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll continue when we come back.
Thank you.
DoosieMed Medicine Depot Retail Pharmacy and Emergency Medical Depot. Conveniently situated in the DoosieMed Medical Center, Corner Burger and Bosel Street, Pietermaritzburg. We provide safe, affordable and convenient medical facilities. Open till 10 p.m. every day of the year. We have a full house clinic that operates from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is run by a qualified sister. The clinic offers immunization, vaccination, wellness, general consultation, and more. Call DoosieMed Medicine Depot on 033 3421 DoosieMed Medicine Depot, your pharmacy of choice.
Once again, winter has made itself known, and thousands are left to face this harsh season in utter destitution. Assist those in need this winter by sponsoring a blanket and mask for only 150 Rand, or a winter humanitize pack for only 350 Rand, which includes blankets, scarves, gloves, candles, beanies, and masks. Call 011 834 8685 or donate online at africamuslimsagency.co.za. The AMA winter distribution runs throughout South Africa. Africa Muslims Agency, inspiring the spirit of giving.
Dad, well, I've been chatting with an investment broker today and...
Broker? Did the broker tell you that our economy is a mess? There's bushfires in Australia, America wanted World War III, and now the coronavirus is traveling around the world.
Well, I also thought about purchasing some crypto.
Crypto? What's that, like another pyramid scheme? I don't trust what I can't see.
There's an apartment in Belito.
So whole your family will be asking to stay there for free. And what if the government takes it away, eh?
Dad, I don't think it works like that.
I'll tell you what works. Gold. At your age, I invested in gold coins and it paid for your university fees and your wedding. No contracts, no agreements. Your investment is in your hands and you own it. With a 70% growth in only 5 years, do you still doubt gold investment? Contact RJ Coin today, 031 202 4701, or visit them at 151 Stephen Lamini Road in Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange, your passport to gold investment.
You are listening to Mariam Makwanda, live on Salam Media.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Mariam Mukwenda Show, and I'm still joined on the line by Margaret Hungwe, an author and a relationship coach. Today, we are talking about striking a balance between your career and your family life, your marriage, your kids, etc. Margaret is still on the line. Hi, Margaret. Thank you for joining me once again. Now, before the break, you were talking about what we should do and what we should not do in order to help us to strike this balance. But there are things that we need to avoid doing as well. And it's often things that we don't see it. We don't see that we are doing something wrong. And when we are reminded that we are doing something wrong, we often look at like, no, don't worry about it. It's not that serious. Like comparing other people to our situation, saying like, see what they're doing. How come they're able to strike a balance and we can't?
Yeah, so I always say to myself, it is easy to look at my neighbor's lawn and say that it is so green, but I don't know how they are watering it. I'm not even part of them watering their garden, probably even having someone to come in and tend their garden. So my question is always, what are you doing towards your marriage when you are doing comparisons? Because also remember, we are also living in a world where appearance is everything. People keep up appearances, but while they're actually suffering, you only realize when you now start probably to engage them. For an example, me and my husband, we went through a course called Marriage Ministries International. So in that course, there was a couple, they were always touching. I mean, I almost said to my husband, hey, I don't think we are so loving, because they'll be touching, whispering thing, and they were so like in love, right? So it was a 6 months course on marriage. After we finish, you would now give in like a testimony where you say where you were and what have happened to your marriage. So the wife started crying to say when they actually came, they'd already communicated with a divorce lawyer to divorce. And that's when I realized that it is so easy to see people who can actually fake it out there while their marriage is falling apart, and the others who are actually doing it. So I always say that every marriage is unique. Look at things that work for you, because when I look at my husband, he's different from your husband, from someone else's husband. What he likes, his love languages, what he deems necessary in my marriage might be different from you. Yes, we might have some guiding principles, but it's always different. The important thing is, how do you communicate effectively to make sure that there is that striking balance between your marriage and your career? Earlier on, I talk about issues to do with when you come back home and your career is gone, or even we can look at the situation currently with COVID. We hear in the news everywhere. It's not even only in South Africa, everywhere where companies are closing down. People are losing jobs. The economy is struggling. And when you read or even you hear what's going on with the economists, they tell you that it's going to take even time for the economy to actually rise up again, right? So imagine you were a CEO, a manager, whatever position that you were somewhere, and then your company closes down, and you were not doing anything towards your marriage. What then happens? You come home, the job is no longer there. And go on the marketplace, on the job sites right now, there is not so many jobs out there being advertised because companies are struggling. So now you come back home, the job is gone. You are now home, we are now just looking at each other. That's when we start to step on each other's toes. We start even to fight, and then issues escalate. So the issue is never compare, because you have no idea what's going on there. In case that it actually looks good, probably go in there and chat with them. Guys, this is what we see on you. How can we copy? How can we imitate? How are you doing it for you guys to be where you are? You can always engage, but never make assumptions, because many times assumptions are not exactly the real thing happening.
And the grass is not always greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. There is a comment here. It says, it's very easy to make the children the center of which marriage turns, which is very wrong. That's by Ian Chiweshe. which is true. As women, we tend to do this. Yeah, we make children the very core of the relationship. And you spoke about this earlier, whereby children grow up and they'll leave home, and it's just going to be you and your partner left. And what then? What's going to happen if you've made the children the center of your relationship and neglected your spouse in the midst of it all? Now, speaking about striking a balance between work and family, is it wise, is it a good idea to work with your spouse in the same company, the same building, have the same career choice?
So that one is tricky. I've cancelled couples that have been there and it really ended up really like burning them. So it's very difficult unless if also we have really put demarcations, we have also put in boundaries to say, for an example, me and my husband, we have noticed our strength, right? My husband is someone who can look for work. He can look for business and it will work. I am the Minister of Finance. I am the manager. I am the administrator. I know how to do administration. I know all those things. So initially we did not realize that, such that there would always be this tussling because we haven't realized our strength in marriage until we got to a point of realizing our strength. And when we did, it works for us. So it is when you realize your strength between the two of you and you capitalize on them. With others, it's very difficult. Why? Because they also don't have boundaries. So the wife comes in and goes like, this is my husband. So if, for an example, you look in a situation whereby they are female in that organization, the wife might want to be felt that I am here and I am the owner of this company and that's my husband, which is again is going to affect the running of the business. Then maybe you have also a husband who would speak anyhow to his wife because he believes that we are at the workplace, so I can speak to you the same way I can speak to the workers. So it is very difficult. There is a thin line there. You really need to realize how you can actually navigate through working together. It is possible. Other people, they do it so well, but know your strength in that organization such that you capitalize on them.
I worked for a couple. The company was started by the man, and then he brought his wife in a little later on down the years. It was a bit of an awkward situation there because initially we were 3 women who were working for this man, and then having the wife there also is just something else. But yeah, we live and we learn and we move on. So going forward, what advice would you give to our couples, especially the young couples who, have just started, honeymoon phase, everything is going well and trying to keep it that way?
All right, I'll start with the wife. Marriage is not a destination. Don't think when you get married, you've arrived, not at all. It is just a process, as I explained earlier on about the reasons of getting married. So when you get married, you still have a vision. You have what you want as an individual. But in this individual, you are coming into your marriage where you are bringing in 100%. So never put back your desires or your career aspirations because you want this marriage to work. Not at all. Do exactly what you want, but what is important is to make sure that you are not neglecting your marriage. The reason why I'm saying do what you want is because you might end up, you wake up one day and you're now bitter towards this marriage, and you might actually abandon the marriage because you feel like you were cheated out of life towards the marriage. So never stop aspiring and even becoming a go-getter. We can do this as women. I mean, we are go-getters. We can make sure that our careers are flourishing, even our empowering ourselves. That is what we need to do as women. But never forget what you signed up for. When I'm saying signed up for is what you decided to get into. When I look at the men, yes, you are the macho in the house. You are the priest in the house. You are the king of the house. But realize that me also as your wife, I have aspirations. Me as your wife, I've got career aspirations. I want to get there. Look in the world right now. We are going head to head as men and women in terms of the marketplace. So there is nothing unique there. It is there, and be able to embrace it. So as a man, as you know that you are the king, please give me a chance as well to be able to showcase me in my career. But you as a man, Please realize that you are married. I need a man in my house. I'm not looking for another manager that I left at work. I am looking for a husband. I'm looking for a partnership. I'm looking for someone when I come home who can just rub my shoulders, who can just massage my feet. I'm looking for someone who is there to say, no, let's go and do dishes together. Let's do this together. Let's go and take a walk. Let's run together. I'm looking for that. I'm not looking for another boss when you come home. Where is supper? Did you do homework with the kids? No, I'm not one of your subordinates. We are in this marriage together. So all those things are very important. And when you are a young couple, make sure you are defining these things from the onset. Because the problem that we have is that we are so excited in this honeymoon phase, we don't make plain the things that we want and define them, such that now when we now want to define them later, people are surprised. We are now getting this to say, but why didn't you say so before? Or why were you not doing this before? Yes, of course, some of these things come later in life, but let's adjust to them together as a couple.
Mm-hmm. So true there, and very, very important advice there. Thank you so much once again for your time, Margaret. And I hope that our listeners and viewers can take heed of this advice and run with it before it's too late. In fact, it's never too late if you start now.
True. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That was Margaret Hungwe, an author and a relationship coach, giving us advice on how to balance work and your marriage. So for the young couples out there, the main thing is you need to define what you want from your marriage and your career from the beginning. When you find someone and you're excited about getting married, at least put it down on paper and let them know that this is what you want. These things are about to change, so do have a room for that change, because things are not static and things are not supposed to stay the same. And as we grow, as we learn, we do make the necessary changes, but make sure that you define that. If you want to be a career person, be a career person. This is all about your life as well. Another comment here from Lister, who says indisputable boundaries should be defined from the onset. That is true, as that is exactly what Margaret mentioned as well. From the get-go, from the beginning, define what it is that you want, set your boundaries, and let your partner know. And it's not just the woman who needs to do this, it's the man as well. It's a collective. You guys are coming together as one. So make sure that you let your partner know from the onset, from the beginning, that this is what I want to do. I want to be a career person. I want to be a businesswoman. I want to do this. I want to do that. And encourage one another as well. Build each other up. If your husband likes doing something, you can join him and do that something, but not go to his workplace and then show everybody and say, I'm the wife. No, don't do that. Just support him from afar. Be his cheerleader when he comes home, and he can't wait to he must be excited to give you the good news or to tell you how his day was. And be that person also, and have your husband support you in your career choices as well. Men do support your women, to support their career choices. Give them advice, tell them what you think and what you think they should do, what you think they shouldn't do, etc. But be a support structure, and don't forget to define and set boundaries from the get-go. It is 12. You are listening to the Mariam Mukwenda Show on Salam Media, and we're also live on Facebook. Thank you for all the comments that we received for our coach, Margaret. We will be right back after the break, so do stay with us.